The struggle to break free from addiction is a fight many people face in silence. And when someone realizes they do need help, it can be difficult to get that treatment, especially for incarcerated individuals.
Multiple studies out there from the National Institute of Health show that addressing the issue for prisoners can lead to reduced substance abuse and criminal behavior after their release. And there's a program in our area showing strong results in helping prisoners deal with those issues. According to the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, the STAR program served 650 people at the Winnebago County Jail in 2024. That's about 20% of the bookings recorded for that year. It is far exceeding the national average usage in other U.S. prison and jail populations, sitting at around only 5% of prisoners, according to the NIH. Maria Parmigiani spoke with former inmates who say the STAR program helped them break the cycle of addiction.
The STAR program in Winnebago County is a game changer for fighting addiction. STAR stands for Sobriety Treatment Assisted Recovery, and it's a unique collaboration of Winnebago County Jail, Department of Human Services, and Solutions Recovery.
The majority of my adult life was spent in institutions. I was addicted to methamphetamine and heroin for about 15 years.
For Jessica Furch, a graduate of the STAR program, she couldn't imagine being sober when she was in the thick of addiction.
There's a sense of hopelessness and a sense of powerlessness that you feel when you're in the middle of active addiction, where the life of recovery seems absolutely impossible or insurmountable.
The STAR program is not just changing lives, it's saving them. The program turns 2 March 1st, but the county has helped over 2,000 people get help with sobriety since 2022. And in 2024, STAR served 650 individuals.
STAR was created following a recommendation from the Winnebago County Overdose Fatality Review Board.
When an individual is booked into the Winnebago County Jail, they're offered the recovery pod if they're looking to get sober, with 2 dedicated recovery coaches assessing their needs, sometimes working with individuals who wish to get sober in a matter of days. They're offered medical attention like Vivitrol, a drug blocking the effects for alcohol and opioids, as well as setting up peer coaches and sober living houses. Every step to recovery is taken care of so participants aren't left alone. Understanding some individuals need to hit rock bottom before they'll accept help.
We're changing the overall philosophy of recovery, taking the stigma away. It's okay to ask for help, and I think that's the biggest win.
It's not an escape from consequences, but a lifeline for change. Agencies willing to treat addiction differently. Megan Edwards with Solutions Recovery is thankful for the willingness and collaboration from the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, saying their willingness to keep learning and evolving their understanding around addiction is what keeps this program successful.
We have law enforcement working alongside people in recovery, and that's just really innovative and unique and groundbreaking.
For many, recovery seems daunting, but STAR offers hope with thousands of success stories.
I think in reference to who the disease of addiction touches, it's everybody from all walks of life.
Graduates prove the program breaks the cycle of addiction with steps in place for inside and outside support, like Jessica, who now inspires others as a peer coach in the program.
My life is amazing today. I have my family in my life. I have an amazing support system around me with the recovery community. I am present in my daughter's life.
The STAR program is a guiding light to lasting recovery.
I wanted to, not live in shame and guilt, and I just wanted to be proud of myself.
Are you proud of yourself?
I'm very proud of myself.
The STAR program promises a brighter future. While it's specific to inmates, Solutions Recovery offers a strong community for anyone needing help outside of the jail. Find out more information on our website. Maria Parmigiani, Action 2 News.